Welcome to Real Estate in the Tri-State, where we talk about all things buying, selling, and investing in the Dubuque area. Featuring experienced locals giving you their real estate insight. My name is Abby Rottler, and here is your host, my husband, Rob Rottler.
Welcome back to Real Estate in the Tri-State. Today is episode number 21 with a guest who is a realtor at the outstanding real estate company in Dubuque, Rule and Rule Realtors. He has rapidly grown his real estate investments and experience as an investor, which I am excited to get into. I think there's a lot to be learned from his story. Outside of real estate, he is a business owner in Dubuque. He studies real estate and money like crazy and has a simple way of tracking his finances, which is something I have recently adopted as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the great and powerful Jeremy Noel. Thanks for being on, Jeremy.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks for having me. Am I like the great and powerful Oz or what?
The great and powerful. Actually, that was taken from the Joe Rogan podcast. He introduces his guests like that, and I'm like a fan of his, so I just roll with it. Copied it from him. Anyways, I'm freaking excited to be on today with you. Like, I know we've been talking on and on since episode probably number 1 about this. So I'm freaking glad that we're here.
Yeah,
I'm
figured I better jump on. Everybody else is doing it.
Yeah, man. I like it. Well, I'm excited. We're going to talk about some cool stuff today and, learn some stuff. And I think the audience is going to get quite a bit out of this one. So you're also one of the funniest guys I know. So
thank you.
we'll get to some of that as well. I always tell people I'm not very funny, but I can spot someone who's funny.
Right.
And you're the one.
I tell people I'm not funny. I'm just situationally funny. How about that? I could never write something to be funny. It's just things happen and I make jokes about them.
And yeah, you definitely seize the opportunity when they come along.
Yeah. So
do you want to just get it started and tell us just a bit about yourself so the audience can get to know you better?
Yeah, sure. My name's Jeremy Noel. I was born and raised here in Dubuque, Iowa. 42 years old, went to Hempstead, went to University of Iowa, came back here, started my business, Falbo Brothers Pizza. Been doing that for about 15 years, a little over. Then about 4 years ago, I got into real estate to become a realtor and then just started buying up some real estate property. I have 3 kids, Jordan, Landon, Delilah, and my wife, Kelly. Yeah, that's me.
Cool, man. So we're going to unpack all that. So let's just get started straight out of Iowa. Did you know you were going to go into business straight out of college? Like, how'd you get into Falbo's?
I just delivered there in Iowa City, and I had a psychology degree and didn't really look for a job after college. Just kept delivering pizzas for a year or two, and then finally thought I'd come to Dubuque back home and start one, and worked out.
Nice.
Worked out okay, I guess. I mean,
so there wasn't a Falbo's in Dubuque before that?
No.
There's how many? It's a franchise, and there's how many locations, you know?
Yeah, I don't know how many.
Is it Midwest?
It started in Madison, and then it went to Iowa City. And then he opened one in Coralville. I mean, there's only a handful. I mean, there's quite a few in the Madison area, like Verona, a couple other places up there. And then there's one weird one in like Texas now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a very small franchise where, I mean, you do your own thing. I don't talk to these guys. I haven't spoken to them in years, honestly.
The Iowa City location,
or like the guys who own it now.
Really?
They're in Minnesota. The guy who used to own it, who started the franchise, sold it at the end of 2016. He used to come here every once in a while, and I still talk to him. But like the new guys, send them their check, and they're good.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have any like. You make your own menu and stuff. Like,
okay.
I mean, they don't have any say in that, really. I guess they could, but they don't do anything about it, which is good. I like.
You like the freedom.
Yes.
Talking about menu, the Jeremy is on your menu.
Yeah.
One of the great pizzas that you guys do make. What's on the Jeremy?
Pepperoni, sausage, chicken, feta cheese, and cheddar cheese. It's delicious.
And that just like you've made that over the years, or you just somehow came up with that?
Started liking it. I don't know. I'm normally a really picky eater, and I remember trying feta once when I was busy and like a screwed up pizza back when I was in Iowa City and a delivery driver, and I really liked it. And then I don't know, I just started making it, and then I was making a menu one day, and I was like, oh, do I want to add new pizzas? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to add this one. And I didn't think of a name, and the guy at the Dubuque Advertiser was just like, well, what about just the Jeremy? And I'm like, all right, sounds good. And it really is one of the more popular menu items now, which is pretty cool.
That's sweet. So, man, you go from delivering pizza to business owner. Like, that's a huge jump.
Yeah.
What did that take? Like, what was it that...
I don't know how much, this has to do with real estate, but this was back in 2005, and I couldn't get a loan. Nobody would give you a loan for a restaurant at all. My parents don't have money. So I did like a bunch of credit card cash advances, like
in 2005?
As many as I could, yeah.
Wow.
Like I had to mail it in, I remember, and I thought if I did them all at the same time, like mailed them the same day, they'd all be approved. I don't know if that worked, but it did work because I got like, I don't know, somewhere between 50 and 70,000 in cash advances on credit cards.
Nice.
With 0% financing for 18 months or whatever. And then I needed a little more, and I went to a bank, and my dad helped me, co-signed it, and I got a little more. And then, just a couple years later, I just cleaned it all up the best I could, which was still very hard to do. By a couple years, I mean, it was like 7 years later that I really... Banks trusted me enough to give me money. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I heard you and Jeff talking about it last time. I definitely would think he needs to know how to make a pizza to own a pizza place.
Dang.
But he also would have learned it very quickly. He doesn't. I didn't think he needed 4 or 5 years, maybe like 4 to 5 months, and then do it himself,
Yeah. So... Dang, that is awesome. Big leap of faith there. I study and listen to a lot of successful people, and even a couple guests on the show so far have talked about like noticing that people with success at one point in their life, they took a big leap of faith. Like they really, really took a risk and they went after it. Like for you, that
was a huge risk. I don't think I knew how risky it was at the time. That could have turned out really, really bad. And it didn't. So it's fine now. It worked. My parents aren't like that. They just work 9 to 5s.
Yeah.
And I specifically remember my dad taking one bite of the first pizza I made to show him what it was. And he's like, you'll be out of business in a month.
No way.
Yeah. I still tease him about that. I mean... So, I don't know. I just always figure stuff out, I guess. I don't know. Made it work.
Yeah.
A lot of revolving credit cards for a while.
Got to make it happen, right?
Have some good credit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. So, and then psychology. So you studied psychology. Man, I'm always interested in that.
Just pick something. I was pharmacy, and I didn't get in.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be smart to do any of this, obviously. Didn't get in, and then I really had no plan B, which I'm really glad I'm not a pharmacist now. But I don't know. Then I just went psychology.
Which is interesting as heck, I think.
I don't know. I just wanted to get done with school. I just wanted the degree. Dude, if I had to do it over, I probably wouldn't even get the degree, but then I would have never... delivered pizzas there, and probably who knows what I'd be doing right now. Yeah. Same.
Like I'm not using my degree at all either, but that experience wouldn't change it for anything, right?
Yeah, and I'm very frugal by nature, and I didn't have a ton of debt. I worked a lot through college, so it's not like I was paying off college debt for years after. I think it took me 3 or 4 years, and I just paid it off. It was pretty small. So
well, good stuff. So you're doing pizzas then since 2005, and then it was 4 years ago that you decided to get into real estate. What piqued your interest in real estate?
I don't want to say like HGTV and all that stuff, but I think I just kind of thought it seemed like very doable. And then I looked into it, and I had a friend, Ryan Anglesey, in our office. He loved his job, and I just asked him a few questions, and then had 2 kids at the time. And I remember specifically asking my wife, like, should I try this now? And she's like, yeah, it's fine. I got this. She was working part-time. So I don't know. I didn't know what to do. I just started doing the classes and stuff. And then I started I talked to Jeff. I talked to one other place in town too. And Jeff said he'd hire me, which I was surprised by too. I mean, it was just that simple.
Entrepreneur.
That's what he said. I didn't get it at first, but it does make sense now. Like, I was an entrepreneur with Falbos. I obviously still am, but it wasn't, I didn't really think of it like that. I just thought of it like going to work and making pizzas every single day and do it till I die, like now with Rule and Rule, I'm so glad I went to Rule and Rule, by the way. It really taught me more about like how to enjoy your life and how to delegate and how to run a business correctly. And not that Rule and Rule taught all that, but like just being around people that read and were adults. And like most of my employees were like high school kids, college kids at that time. Oh, they've gotten a little older now, probably just because I get older. And I mean, I just go out with them at night, and I was single at the beginning. It was just a job. And that I mean, I knew how to make it work, but not, I don't want to say make it grow. It's fine, but I didn't know how to use it to my advantage, kind of.
Yeah.
So like now when I got into real estate, I really went in to it hard, and I didn't want to be like the realtor who couldn't show you a house during a day so, I just got more employees, and which has helped the business a lot. You have a lot more people that can cover shifts if things come up, and then I don't have to be there so much. So I gave up a little bit of that control, and because I am a very controlling person.
Yeah.
I gave up a little of that to get into this because I just started thinking like Falbos can sort of run without me. My real estate can't. My rentals can-ish. I mean, they just kind of run on their own and take some phone calls here and there. But yeah, I don't know.
So before you got into real estate, you were doing a lot of the work at Falbos. Like you didn't have very many employees. You were in there doing a lot of the work every day, kind of punching the clock almost. Felt like. Yeah.
I was big into, like I said, I'm frugal. I was big into saving. Save on payroll. Work yourself. But like when you think about it, you're kind of working as minimum wage or a little above. And as you start getting older and start learning, it's like, why not get somebody into that position so you can do other things where I can do those. A lot of the realtor stuff I do is from Falbos. I mean, I have an office, I have a computer, I mean, I have a phone. I can do that stuff from there. I actually get more work done there than I do in our office because there's just, less people to talk to and stuff. But I don't know where we're going with that.
I think there's I'm going to go back. I'm going to backtrack. You said getting around people who are older, who are professionals, business people, these other realtors. So that had to be huge for you because spending time with a bunch of high schoolers, obviously it's just not as...
Yeah, huge difference. Huge. Like completely changed my way of thinking. Like I don't know, just, being around the 5 people you're around the most or whatever that thing is. It's completely changed it. Like I like my employees and all, but like I was just another employee basically. Like I did the same job and I felt in my mind I could do it better. So if they were doing it wrong, I'd just do it right. But now I made a concerted effort to step away and like, if I'm in my office and they're a little busy, and let them handle it. They can handle it. I'll do my stuff. They do their stuff, and it's worked out so far. I've also had a crew that's been there for a while now too. So who knows when they all leave, but
man, there's just so many different ways around business. Like think about all the moving pieces at Falbos, like with the employees, and you got hiring, and you got, staff, you got to get the hours right. And if it gets busy, like there's just so many moving pieces. I'm sure it's crazy probably how much you've learned in that. over the years.
Yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, working with people, doing favors for people so that they'll do them for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'll get you. Can you work today? I had somebody calling sick or whatever. No, I can't. And then they'll be like, well, if you could get me this day off, and then, yeah, sure, I'll make that happen. Figure something out. Then I at least got 3 more days to figure that one out. And then,
Here's what I'm thinking too. What I'm wondering as a business owner, when I was driving around Dubuque today, kind of some residential areas, there were I probably saw 50 cars that were just buried in snow, parked on the road. Snowplow came through and just buried them.
Yeah.
Do you get that? Like, oh, hey, Jeremy, yeah, I'm supposed to work today, but, my car's buried.
It's happened before, with a cook, not a non-delivery driver. I'll just go pick them up and call their bluff,
Yeah.
I'll be there, I'm not buried. It happens, but yeah, as you get away, people are actually pretty responsible that I hire. I think, I don't hire people like that. Or if I do, they don't last long.
Yeah.
So I'm not afraid to get rid of the bad apples anymore. I used to be, but.
So getting into realtor life, talk about those early days as a realtor. Like, how was it getting started? If somebody's listening to this, they're like, I'm working my job. I'm stuck in the office. I'd really like to be a realtor. Wonder what it's like that first year.
It was hard. It was a lot. It was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be just to get it going. There was a lot to learn, and I kind of feel like at first I wanted to learn everything before I did anything. But then Jeff, my manager, told me, like, you got to remember, I specifically remember him saying this too, like, you got to remember, 10 times more than the buyer or the seller. Like, more than them. You might not know as much as people in this office that have been doing this for a decade, but more than the general public. You know what you're doing. Get out there and do it. And
heck yeah, that's why we're here right now, baby.
Right, yeah.
Let's go. You freaking wizard it with real estate, man.
Well, I don't know about that, but I get.
So, and I'm the same. Like, I wanted to learn everything before I even got started almost. But then, I don't know how you feel about this. I learn more by doing it.
For sure.
You learn way more by doing it than, all the books. And I'm huge into reading and podcasts and audiobooks and things like that. I know you are too. We'll get into it. But actually doing it, you're going to learn so much. So
for sure, yeah. You look back on, I mean, even if you don't know the answer to the question, you just say, I'll find out for you. But you can think back to your past experiences now after you've done a few, and you usually know the answer. Yeah. I'm not going to say I know everything. I'm not even close. But I mean, most deals, most buys or sells, they're kind of pretty smooth if you do a pre-home inspection and that kind of stuff and get that out of the way.
Yeah, there's something to be said too about, like, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Seller or buyer, whatever, I might not know all the answers, but I'll be sure to find out for you. If I don't know, I'll tell you. We work for this company. We have our own attorney. We have hundreds of other agents that I can go to for any sort of hiccup that we might come into, So,
right, yeah.
I think there's something to be said about it, but it's definitely hard getting it off the ground. Yeah,
for sure. And Jeff again was talking about, like, if you're not able to call people and you're not able to provide value to people, like, yeah, he's right. But I'm not able, at the beginning, I wasn't able to call, like, a family member that I haven't spoken to since last Christmas or whatever and just be like, hey, did you see I'm in real estate? But it's easy to call past clients. Like, you have something to talk about. You have, like, how are things, you get pretty close to them throughout the process. And you're, nothing against my family, but you're actually interested to hear what's going on with the house that you helped them buy, especially like first-time home buyers. It's awesome. It feels good, to call them and check up, which it doesn't even have to be a call anymore. People like texting, and Sometimes you got to call. I called a guy yesterday, an investor client that I hadn't talked to in a while, and it was good. He had a lot going on. He got some grants from the city to do lead abatement and to
I've heard about it.
Windows, and it was awesome. Windows. He bought these crappy properties, and he's making them way better, even though they're not in the best part of town. He's making them better for really cheap too.
That's good.
So
yeah, which is one of my favorite parts about real estate. Talk about windows. Did you have?
Talk about windows.
Windows are your best friend, right?
Yeah, right.
Love windows.
Well, with some rentals, the city adopted a new policy on their windows, and I just put brand new windows in one of my rentals that I bought and did a remodel of the basement and put windows in the main floor and upstairs. And then they just came in for the inspection and said, "Oh, this isn't good enough anymore. You need to get a casement window, crank out windows for fire." Then there was a big thing because there were other landlords that were fighting this, and we had I wasn't able to talk, but I could watch it on Zoom. And about the window thing, and the board of landlords agreed that double hung windows were fine because you could take them out without a tool. Well, then the city got the city council to change the law completely, so there was no gray. Bottom line is, you had to change the window. Some landlords have to change hundreds of windows, I heard. So I'm pretty happy with one. I'm sure when they come back through other ones, they'll find more. I mean, I don't know. They just had to be big enough, basically.
Yeah.
Safety.
What would be your advice to a listener if they're thinking about getting into investments in the city, but they're concerned about inspections? Maybe they can only afford a certain type of property that might have quite a few problems. They really are concerned about passing inspections.
Well, I'd look into it and talk to your realtor about what kind of things they're going to look for. And a lot of the things don't cost a lot. Windows are one of the more expensive things. It's mostly safety, like handrails and stuff like that. Getting outlets grounded or going back to two-prong, which I think's weird, but
you got to go back to two-prong.
Either that or put in a GFCI.
Oh, I knew the GFCI,
but you can go back so that they can't stick. It's way cheaper to go back to the two-prong.
Really?
But tenants hate it. Then they got to get that adapter. I've had tenants and I've had buyers that go through a place and I'm just looking to see if there's three-prong outlets.
Really?
Yeah, because they want that so bad. I don't know.
Weird. I guess you can probably tell a lot about a house's electrical if you go through and see a bunch of two-prong. I'm thinking that's old stuff, really old.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I didn't know you could go back to two-prong.
Big of a deal. Well, actually, you might not be able to anymore. Somebody did tell me, now that you're saying that, that they're not allowing you to do that anymore. I mean, it's not the end of the world. A two-prong outlet's 79 cents, but I think a GFCI is $10. I mean, you're not going to change hundreds and hundreds of them. So renters like the three-prong better anyway. So
your advice is that it's little things. It's just little things here or there, and do your due diligence. Check it out first.
Yeah.
I think there's a list, and I should be more aware of this probably. I try to keep up with some of these issues that people are having, especially landlords, but the city has a list of all of their inspection items.
They do, yeah. It's I have it on my phone somewhere, but it's you get to learn them. Yeah. Handrails, windows, that kind of stuff. Smoke detectors, radon detectors. That kind of stuff, yeah.
All right. Everyone's waiting for it. I know the listeners are waiting for it. You started, when did you start investing?
I bought my first property on December 21st, 2017.
And how many doors do you have?
I have 11 now, so I got to 11 in about 2.5 years.
Bam!
My goal was 10 in 10 years, so...
Wow! 10 in 10 years!
Yeah.
How do you go from... you just crushed your goal. How'd you do it?
Yeah.
How'd you do it?
I did it by myself. I don't have a partner or anything. So a lot of people, I think that's pretty modest. I've listened to this podcast where One guy wanted like 1,000 doors or 3,000 doors. That's not me. I want enough to like retire.
Yeah.
That's really what I want. I don't know. I did it by... I'm a little older is one thing I've been thinking about this because I knew you were going to ask it. I'm a little older. I was 39 when I started investing. So maybe had a little bit more money or means to make money than some people. So, and I had equity in my house. So to be honest, that's how I started. My first one, I just used the equity in my house for a down payment. First two, actually. Now that I'm looking at my list here.
Yeah. I like it when we have a list of properties here and some good information. What else you got on that sheet for us, Jeremy?
Well, nothing. I mean, I wrote some stuff, but like, I remember, because I was thinking about it, like I said.
Yeah.
The first property we were going to buy, it was just like a Saturday afternoon, had a friend over and his wife, and she's like she was at the time was a loan officer. So she was telling me about equity. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like you could use the equity in your home. I didn't even know that. So like, and now it's like, I just didn't, like I said, I went to work. I made pizzas. I didn't really do anything else. But she told me that we could do that. And then we started looking at properties together to buy together. And we made an offer on one after we looked at like 5. It was pretty quick. And I still didn't even understand it. Like, I remember asking the realtor, like, I don't get why this is important.
This was like, after you were a realtor, weren't you?
No, this is before. Oh. This was the first one. Like this is like probably a year before I became a realtor.
Okay.
Sorry, I wasn't that naive when I was a realtor. But so anyway, that got to inspections and then it fell apart. I think they got cold feet, kind of. There was something that was somewhat major at the time, but looking back, it wasn't major. But the house, I wish I would have bought the house, to be honest, alone. I think the rents were low, and I think now it would cash flow. It wouldn't have cash flowed a ton back then. But anyway, that fell apart. I ended up becoming a realtor shortly after, and then I remember my first rental. I showed it to a client, my first client ever. I showed it to her, and it was like on the market for a while. It was obviously not worth what they had it up for. And then it expired and got listed in our office for like $20,000 less than what it was up for before. And I bought it the first day. Like I went on tour and I was like, I've already been in this house and I like it. And it wasn't perfect. It had some foundation issues that I had a guy come look at, but it was $20,000 less and I bought it. And basically 100% financed it with my equity in my house, and it cash flowed and held on to that for the winter. And then just started buying more.
Just started rolling.
Yeah, those were personal loans. A lot of people get hung up on commercial versus personal and all that in our name. And then I just had them quit claimed over eventually once I started working with the credit union that I now work with and do commercial loans. So,
all right, let's dive into quick claim. We have not talked about this on the podcast. I am not an attorney. And I am not an attorney either. And I don't really, I feel like I have it somewhat of an idea on what a quick claim deed is, but so you bought those with your home equity and you put them under your personal name, and then it sounds like eventually you open up an LLC.
Correct. Before my third property, I opened up an LLC, and I don't know. I wanted them all. He basically the banker, the loan officer at that credit union, was very helpful and wanted me to clean it all up, and I could have like put it all into one loan and all that. And then he just said, you should do a quick claim and get this put into your corporation LLC name, which is awesome because it doesn't show up when you go to buy a house for yourself too. And I did that. And I mean, it just, to me, all it did is I signed some papers and then it changed the name on Beacon. It wasn't really that big of a deal. I still own it.
Yeah.
So it went from Jeremy and Kelly Noel to J&K Properties is what it's called.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So I did not know that would look like junk properties once I set it up, but it's done now. It's J&K. It's not junk.
It's done.
I like my properties. I keep them nice.
They're not junky. They're not. I swear.
Yeah.
Cool. So was it the loan officer that convinced you to open the LLC, to start the LLC?
No, I probably was listening to podcasts. That's a common podcast question or articles,
Huge.
Bigger Pockets. You get the emails, and it's always one of, I think it's just an excuse for people not to do anything. Like,
That's exactly
I
what
am
it
just
is.
a jumping kind of guy, figure stuff out afterwards half the time or on the fly. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I hate it when you hear people all the time. I've gotten a few friends and to start buying now, through me as a realtor, and yeah, you hear a lot of people, I don't want to, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. Who cares? Just do it. Figure it out later. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, people aren't doing it because they want to be busy and they just want to have headaches. They're doing it to either be financially independent or retire sooner or be rich. Real estate's usually a good investment if you're not a moron.
Heck yeah. We do endorse that all the time on this show. I like it.
Yeah.
Talk about, okay, so I feel like I'm backtracking here.
But I can talk about my other properties. Last year,
Yep, let's hit them.
2020, I bought 6 single-family homes. That was my big
year.
And it was, this is something I kind of wanted to talk about.
Like, how did you, what was it that was just like,
Well, I think the banker, honestly, with all the Felble stuff and banks not wanting to give you a loan, it was nice to have a banker behind me that actually believed in me. And he even said to me, he's like, I didn't think you were going to buy 6 in the first full year together. But like he said, if you have the 20% down, I'll loan to you. That's it. So I didn't have to I don't know what the word is, but I just didn't have to worry anymore. It's like, okay, if I can save this 20%, then I can buy something. So I just got really good at saving and created a budget and stuck to it and saved a certain amount every month. And then I started to feel the power of real estate, like talking to Aaron in our office, who has helped me a ton. Shout out to Aaron Healy.
shout out? How many times does one guy get a shout out before he gets
I
on
think
the
I'm
show?
still beating him. You and Jeff talked about me twice, and I remember you talking about me in another one, not by name. But anyway, he had one for sale. I ended up buying that, and he kind of just held my hand through it, what to do to it over by UD, and you can get a construction loan from that same bank or credit union, and they loan you to fix it up so you can rent it for more and add more bedrooms. So I changed a 3-bedroom house into a 5-bedroom over by UD.
Whoa.
And
damn.
that was my first deal this year, 2020. And it was awesome because I had saved up the $30,000 or whatever I needed for down payment. And when I went to the bank, I always tell them, I want to use as much equity as possible. So we got my first 3 properties, which was 5 doors, a single family and 2 duplexes. We got them appraised. And what I thought I was going to have to put $30,000 in, I had to put $500 in.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, so this is what people
how
are
we
talking
roll.
about.
Yeah.
So then I was able to just buy, in that time between closing, I saved up a little more. And then I bought 3, boom, 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 2 together that were for sale. And then 1 more from my cousin that she was having trouble selling her house.
Yeah.
I couldn't even sell it. So I made an offer.
Yeah.
And it rents great now. I mean, and it was that was 5 of them right there, or 4 of them right there. So it was awesome. I thought I was going to be done after that first one because I saved up all that money.
Because you had 30 grand,
Yeah.
you thought you'd put it down,
Yeah.
then you'd start saving again. Let's dive into that. So you're thinking you're going to have to put 30 grand down for this property early this year. And you had previously 5 doors, 3 properties, correct?
Yes.
So you got them reappraised. Can you just explain why you would have got them reappraised? And it sounds like you wanted to use more equity. So why would you get them reappraised? And what did you find out with the appraisal results?
Well, the first property I bought, I bought it for $50,000, $49,500. The market had just gone up, and Travis told me, that's my loan officer, told me to have them reappraised. It's a lot. I think it was $400 a house or something, but yeah. So anyway, the one I bought for $49,500, I remember this, appraised for $92,000. And it was you can borrow 80% of that. And all the other ones appraised higher. The one I bought for $104,000 on Central appraised for $120,000. The other one appraised for a little bit more. And it was all
of a sudden there's
just
almost
kind of free
30
money.
grand.
Yeah. It was this is awesome. This is, you read the stuff, you hear about it, you just don't think it's going to happen to you, like in a good way. And it was like, this is awesome.
Do you remember the day you found out those appraisal results and like,
yeah, and my wife's like, sell it for 92. And I'm like, no, I don't think it would really sell for 92, but I'm like, no, this is what you do. And now, yeah, you do it again in a few years once the market's gone up. Like real estate, it's around here. It's just going to go up.
It's always going to go up.
Yeah. Like,
God dang. Yeah, man. That is so cool. That had to be so cool to realize like, oh, you're telling me that, you know, these bundle of properties I already have, I've built up.
That are already making me money.
They're making you money now. They're making you money in the future, whenever, if and when you ever sell them. Like, wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it was cool with that one to oversee the construction of it. And I don't do the work myself. Nobody wants that.
Let's talk about that too. God, your story is just too good. So like, there are people who are like, yeah, man, I would like to invest in real estate. I got some extra cash. You know, I think it's interesting. I want to invest, you know, for my future. I'm young, whatever. I'm just not very handy. I can't do it.
I'm not handy. I can do stuff because being a small business owner, you got to figure some stuff out yourself. And I can do some stuff at the property, but now I have a handyman and I can't give his name out or anything. The guy who gave him to me told me I can't ever. He's awesome.
Classic.
He's cheap. He can fix anything. I mean, he doesn't do like electrical or roofing, but he can do stuff, and he's works 7 days a week. It's awesome. You just call him and he'll fix it. And it's super cheap. And
he does everything for you.
Pretty much everything, yeah.
God, that is sweet.
He does everything for a lot of people that you know in our office. I mean, it's just not. I believe in paying people for what they do. Like, I mean, everybody can make a pizza at home too, but I'm glad they ordered it from me.
Yeah.
So, and same thing, you can sell your own home, but let an expert do it.
You can sell your own home.
But that can lose your money too.
It can, yeah.
But like making your own pizza at home is going to save you money. It is. I mean, I'm not paying more for the ingredients than I am to sell you a pizza. That's how business works. And, you know, it's nice to be able to call somebody, and you do learn stuff. And just from him, and my uncle was doing some stuff for me at the beginning. You do learn stuff, but I'm glad I have somebody else that can do it now, even though it costs a little more. And,
yeah. Folks around Dubuque, if you are listening in, I am looking for a guy similar to what Jeremy has. If you know somebody who's pretty handy and looking for some extra work, send him my way.
I don't think he'll travel to.
It's got to be Dubuque. You're talking about my green property. Yes. That one's about done.
Really?
We're getting about done with it. So, yeah, I'm looking, Dubuque area now. It'd be nice to have
when I was your age, and if I didn't have any kids, maybe I would have done it more.
Yeah.
I still try to do stuff. I remember a couple years ago, see, this is one of the bad stories. Well, not really that bad. Christmas Day, I got a call that a sink was leaking, but it was nothing major. I just told the guy put a bucket under it. It was leaking from the drain, not from the water coming in. Anyway, I went down the day after Christmas and I was going to fix it myself. That was my second property. It was really the first problem I had besides the original doing them up, which I did some of that myself. And I sat there with that drain with the pieces I got from Ace, and I couldn't get it. I was like, what? It's like a puzzle that I could not figure out.
It's still leaking. What
and
the heck?
I couldn't even get it to line up. It just had a hole. It's like somebody did it wrong. Like the previous owner just did it himself. And I called a plumber, and he seriously got there. And I think I went out to my car and grabbed a piece of gum. And he came out, and I'm like, what's the problem? He's like, I'm done. And I was like, what? This is why you call. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the moment you knew you're better off do it. Well, there's way higher dollar per hour activities you can be doing besides fixing a leak in a sink.
Yeah.
Love it. That's good.
Plus it's awkward being in a house with a tenant. I'd rather have somebody else do it. Just it's their home. I mean, you own it, but it's their home. Yeah, it looks better, I think, if you have somebody go fix it rather than yourself.
Yeah, send a professional.
separate you from
the property.
Yeah, kind of. Not, you don't want to become friends with them, I don't think, really.
I agree.
But treat each other well. Like, I got them Christmas presents. I mean, Falbos gift cards, but still, I think they appreciate it, and everybody eats, so I get them stuff.
That's good.
Especially this year. I mean, it's been a rough year.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty sweet. I mean, so you probably built up quite a bit of equity. You've been using it a lot this year. So for 6 properties you picked up this year.
Yeah. So I think you have to own a property for 6 months before you can start using the actual equity. I don't know how much I have. I think I just talked to him. I have a couple 10 to 20,000 right now, which I still think that's crazy. Like, that's just, I could buy $100,000 property and not put anything down right now. Like, without doing anything else, just go do that. But I just kind of want to take a break. I hit my goal quickly, and my wife and I want to focus on getting our living situation figured out. We kind of like to buy a house. I mean, she'd like to buy a house this year.
How do you go about that when you're frugal, when you're the money guy? Hey, folks, I haven't really gotten into this yet. Jeremy is a freaking money guy. He's a money whiz. And
I don't know about a whiz.
You're a money whiz. You study the heck out of it. You read these books.
I do study I enjoy listening.
Profit first.
To stuff about money. Yeah, profit first.
Talk about profit.
I thought we were going to talk about that at the end, but
oh yeah. Let's save it for the end, because that'll be part of.
That'll be the book.
That's closing question number one.
Best book.
But yeah, you study audiobooks and podcasts.
Yeah, and I listen to a lot of money stuff. That's pretty much what I listen. I should probably listen to more real estate, like Bigger Pockets Money. I listen to that podcast over the Bigger Pockets Real Estate. I mean, I still listen to that one, but I really try to get through all the monies. Like, I don't know. Mr. Money Mustache. Do people know who Mr. Money Mustache is?
No,
do you know who he is?
Shout him out.
Serious?
What's he do?
He's like the godfather of frugality, of financial independence. He's a big deal.
Really?
Like, he started a blog in like 2011, I think. I mean, he's got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of articles. He's a big deal.
And it's just money management, everything money.
He's even more frugal than me, although he doesn't spend less than I do. He spends about the same, but I think he only has, at the point I am in the podcast, he only has one kid, but he also lives in like Colorado, like Longmont, Colorado. So it's probably cost of living is way more. He's big into like biking, like you. You don't know who Mr. Money Mustache is, and you used to bike to work? I
like studying money. I listen to Bigger Pockets Money occasionally. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read Dave Ramsey's book. I read Profit First. I don't know. I'm more into real estate than money. You're
Rich Dad, Poor Dad is like,
is he like,
gets you into money, like kind of like, no, he's not like Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Is he like Dave Ramsey?
Yeah, more.
Frugality. I think that's,
like, I mean, just YouTube Mr. Money Mustache. He's awesome.
He must have a mustache.
He doesn't, but he'll talk about like, oh, you just earned your financial mustache there, your money man. It's a cool name, and he's.
Is that where you got your mask?
Big. Like,
is that where you got your mask from?
No, I did that because Falbos, like the original Falbos logo, had like a mustache on it, like big mustache on it. Mr. Money Mustache is huge. I mean, he's got like, you can watch videos on him or read his blog. I mean, he's on every money. He was like the first guest on Bigger Pockets Money. He was the first guest on The Mad Fientist, which he was his first guest. But I haven't gotten to his new stuff yet. Like, I don't really read his new blogs yet, so I don't know, maybe he went off the deep end. I don't know, like Robert Kiyosaki, like Jeff was saying. So I don't know, but he gives you some ideas, and it's just good to read about that kind of stuff to keep you on track. You don't have to follow every single thing, but there's plenty I do follow. Like he actually, I do read some of his new stuff. He came out with like a article on phone plans, like how much you're wasting on phones, and I got Mint Mobile, which is like owned by Ryan Reynolds, the actor, or he's like the majority owner in this company. And they just sent me a SIM card. I put it in my phone, and now my wife and I get cell phones for $15 a month. I mean, like our old bill was like $180, It's $15 a month. We only get 3 gigabytes though. So, but we're always on Wi-Fi, so it's no big deal. I use like 1 gigabyte a month.
I like that. It's like there are some things. I read Atomic Habits. Jeff referenced it. A couple other guys have referenced Atomic Habits. I read it this year. But there's daily habits that are going to get you better, whatever, that you should do every single day, or every single week, or every single month, or whatever. And then there's some things that you can do like one time or like once a year, maybe, that make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Housing. What you did there, if that took you an hour to set up, whatever, that's a one-time thing. You do it, and it's like, boom, set it and forget.
Well, yeah, that's what a lot of the money stuff is about, at least a podcast. Books aren't really about this as much, but like, you know how they'll say, like, cut out your morning latte. Like, you could do, I do that, but I mean, I don't like, yeah, you do the cell phone, you do that. We got rid of cable and just do Netflix or whatever, Hulu, which was $25 a month.
Yep.
You really don't miss it. I was a big sports guy. I don't really watch many sports anymore. I mean, if there's something big, maybe I'll go out to my parents' house and watch it. But housing is a big one when you're younger, like house hacking and stuff. I mean, I wouldn't house hack now, but housing, I have rentals. I mean, that's like kind of the same thing, I guess. But I do keep my house pretty low. I mean, I don't have, well, I shouldn't say that. Try to like not have a car loan.
Yeah.
We don't have car loans, or I did just get a new car. So, but I mean, yeah, that kind of stuff that you do once. Yeah.
When I totally resonate with that stuff. I should look into some of this $15 a month phone bill.
Yeah. I mean, you had to buy a year. I did it for a month first, and then I sent it for a year. But I mean, 15 times 12. It wasn't a lot of money. That's
pretty dang good.
It was like 2 normal phone bills, and then it's just done. I don't have to worry about it. It's awesome.
What are some other things you've learned from this podcast, or like real estate stuff? Like you're a big learner. You're like,
I am now. Yeah, I never used to be. That I got to credit all that to like Rule and Rule too.
I think you point out some of these things in a way that makes people realize like you're learning. Like you'll always give credit wherever you found it, those type of things.
Yeah. I'm not afraid to learn from people. Yeah, I know I'm pretty stubborn, but I can learn from people. I don't mind even somebody younger than me telling me like how they do things. But yeah, some of the other ways to save money is cable. That I've looked into solar panels, but I haven't done that yet because we're not in our forever house. Index funds is a big thing. I started self-managing my own retirement, and you save a ton on fees. Like regular mutual funds through like a company, I'm not going to say where I was, but it's like 1% usually. Well, if you buy index funds through Vanguard, they're probably going to make more anyway. They just track the S&P. I don't really understand all of it, but the fee is 0.04%. And over like, if you just do your $6,000 in an IRA a year, which over a lifetime or 30 years, let's say, that's like $400,000. I check my math, but I think it's like $400,000 in just fees.
Oof.
So you could retire with $700,000, or you could retire with $1 million, but it could even be more because usually index funds perform better. That's a book, Simple Path to Wealth. That's by J.L. Collins. It's up there with Profit First as life-changing books.
I'm writing it down, folks.
Simple Path to Wealth.
Like it.
J.L. Collins was the 20th podcast of Bigger Pockets Money. So yeah, I got that from him, Other ways I don't know much else. The way like insurance is big. I did shop around insurance, and
that's another
saved
one
a lot, especially when you have rentals. Do it one time and forget about it.
Yeah. That's another good one.
Yeah.
Bigger Pockets Money versus Bigger Pockets. What are some of the different things? I listen to some of the Bigger Pockets Money. I listen to a lot of the Bigger Pockets. Where are they going? Obviously money is the biggest difference there, but like, what are some of the specifics that they go into? They get into like the return a little bit more, or
they get into more like they'll interview couples that have gotten out of debt, kind of like Dave Ramsey a little, or what couples do and how much they spend. They don't really talk so much about budgets. I don't know. It's just money stuff, like how to not spend a lot of money and what they do. The Bigger Pocket, the regular one's great too.
Yeah.
I listened to Bigger Pocket's Business a few times. I didn't really like that much. But
Have you
I
heard
don't know,
the Bigger
money's
Pockets?
just my thing. I don't know. I just like learning about it.
It's like a game.
It's not taught in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want my kids to be like good with money too. I don't want them to be like the type that are in credit card debt and living paycheck to paycheck.
Are you reading Rich Dad Poor Dad before bed every night?
With my son, yeah, he started reading it.
No way.
It was a little too much for him, and then he started reading it to me every night. We never got through it, but we will. He's only 8.
Jeez.
And he was probably 7 at this time. So.
That's freaky, man.
Yeah.
Reading that at 8? Wow.
Yeah. He loves to read like his mother. Both of my kids, or I have 3 kids, but it's only one, but they love to read. Like, I don't read. Like, you always ask people, what do you like to? I don't think I read a book since first grade, second grade, there, Super Fudge or whatever that was. But yeah, then Jeff was talking about Ninja on the way down to Ninja. One of the other realtors was talking about this thing, Audible. And I was sitting in the back seat. I'm not a technology guy. And I just was like looking into it, and I've just been nonstop ever since. I used to be like a music guy, like, oh, I love music, blah, blah, blah. But
what's your favorite music?
I mean, I could still listen to any, I don't know, art all time.
Yeah.
Probably Nirvana.
Let's go.
I like Nirvana.
Rock out, man.
Music just doesn't make you money. Like, I don't care about that anymore.
Yeah.
So it's all Audible for me all the time. And like, I remember thinking like, oh, I'm going to run out of books. But every book comes up with other books, and podcasts tell you books, and listen to this podcast tells you books. And I always just put them in my wish list and get through, like Caroline Rule will give us books,
Yeah.
I don't read them, but I download, I listen to them.
Yeah.
And when Ninja Selling came on Audible, I listened to it right away, even though I
Didn't Larry
narrate it.
narrate it?
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
I think books are better when they're narrated by the author.
Yeah, that is a nice touch. A really nice touch.
Yeah.
I liked, you were talking about David Goggins' book.
Yeah.
That's like the only one I've ever audibled that they like cut it every now and then and just went and dove deep into whatever the topic was. It was Goggins, and then...
Oh, yeah, they did have like a Q&A
Yeah.
at the end of each chapter.
It's like a semi-little like interview in each chapter.
Right. Yeah, that book... Yeah, it was a good book. I don't want to listen to it again. There's a lot of books I listened to multiple times. That one was really long and kind of just like a little too in your face for me.
Yeah.
Like, he was a Marine, wasn't he? Or a SEAL. But it was good. I mean, I don't regret. Like, I got the AirPods and I just always listening.
Yeah.
When I'm not, shoveling this morning, I was doing AirPods.
Shoveling. The snow was heavy this morning.
Yeah. Well, I have a snowblower, I guess. But I was thinking about that. If I had, that's another thing people say, like, oh, I don't want to rent a property. I don't want to cut the grass or shovel the snow. Tenants do it. Like, if I had to do any of my properties,
I wouldn't
do it at all, because I would sell over snow because I hate it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't plan your day around snow. It's just, it happens, and you...
Dude, you got to figure it out, man. You got 11 doors. You got a handyman who's taking care of almost everything as far as rehab, like problems here, leaks here, whatever. You got your tenants doing snow and grass.
Yeah, which is what they tell you to do. Yeah. Because I don't have any big buildings. If I had a big building, I would have to hire a company.
Something.
Yeah,
but you'd still hire.
I just have a lot of single family houses and half and half duplexes where they do each of their half. I mean, I put up a shed for them, or like a plastic shed, and say, here, put your lawnmower in there, and good to go.
Freaking awesome.
It's hard to find a shed that fits a lawnmower, actually.
Really?
Unless you put up like a full-size shed, you wouldn't believe how long the handle is. So I found one that's like low and is made for lawnmowers. So.
There you go. Nice.
So, yeah.
So that's cool. So you're thinking investment-wise, moving forward, you're going to try to build up some more equity here and kind of pay down some of the loans you got.
If we're going to move, hey, buyers out there, if you're going to move, This could be the year. 2020 and 2021. Interest rates are low. I'm saying that to clients, and I honestly believe it. If you are not in your forever home, or at least long time home, this is the year to do it. So, I'm looking for us to move, even though I really like the location of our house. We live across the street from the school where my kids go to school, and I wanted to wait till my second one was out of that grade school, but now's the time. I think my wife's not going to stop until it happens anyway. And we are outgrowing our home a little. It's tight. Kids fight a little more when they share a room, and
yeah. So it's time. Buy something.
Yeah.
But what do you say someone's thinking about selling? Like, what do you tell them with the market the way it is right now?
I tell them, have another place to live in mind, because it's probably going to go pretty quick. And you're probably going to get top dollar if you do the right thing. So that's kind of where I am with ours. I don't want to put it up in the market and have nowhere to go. I don't have anywhere to go. I'm not going to go live with my parents. I'm not going to. Although my parents are moving to Florida for 2 months, and I just thought of this. Could
right
sell ours now and live, but no, we're not going to do that.
Let's go. Get it on the market.
Yeah, I don't think my wife would be behind that one, but who knows how long they'll stay either. They've never done this. They just retired. So, but
you're going to get a referral.
For what?
Your parents moving? They're buying something?
No, they're not moving. They're just going for 2 months. And,
yeah.
No. I did just have a referral with my father-in-law's building a house in Cedar Rapids.
Nice.
And I reached out to one of the rural agents there, and he's building a house next summer, and I should get a referral fee, which is pretty sweet. I made 2 phone. I called him and I called her. I called Ollie too, the Cedar Rapids manager, and that's really all I did.
That's a good gig.
So yeah,
I should think about that a little bit more. It's not something that I probably is not in the forefront, but if I was, maybe the ninja way would tell me, if I think about it, or like it. What is it? How do they say it?
If you focus on it,
what you focus on expands.
Yeah, that stuff's weird, but it's true.
Talk about it.
Really is true. Jeff was here last week. He's the one that talks about that kind of.
Yeah, because he's been through all that.
It's just true. What you put your mind to, it just happens. I don't know. I don't know how it happens. It's a secret, right?
The secret.
It does work. It really, like the hot and warm list, it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something to it. What you focus on expands, people.
Yeah, well, it's the reticular activating system, isn't it? And you you buy a new car, you see that car everywhere. You're a girl, you're pregnant, you see pregnant people everywhere. You're buying a house, you hear stories about, it's just.
I've had that happen a few times where I still drive an old car. It's like one of my prides, almost like. This is like my frugality. Like I'm still driving the old car. Anyways, I thought about, if I was going to buy something new, if I was going to buy a different vehicle, what would it be? Boom, all of a sudden I start seeing all these cars everywhere that I was looking at online or whatever. So that's like one of those deals, reticular activating system. It just freaking is rolling around in the back of your mind. It's crazy.
Yep. It works.
What are some last things you would say before we get into closing questions? I don't want to take up your whole day. What are some last things you would say? Like if somebody was just curious about real estate or investing, and they're thinking about what could my life become if I get into real estate, or how could my life change, or where could I go with this? What would you say to someone like that?
For aspiring investors, I tell them to talk to a realtor who knows about it, who has done it basically, who's bought rentals, and then just start consuming stuff, reading. Like if it interests you and you want to put your hard-earned money into it, you have time to read about it, listen to it. It doesn't have to be your whole life. Like I enjoy learning about it, so. it is kind of my whole life, but self-educate. Yeah, my family loves it when we're in the car listening to podcasts.
At least
My kids like it. My wife doesn't like it as much, but like my kids will like say stuff that Dave Ramsey says. Or
Really?
I don't listen to him too much anymore, but yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah, but so they self-educate, save the money, and just pull the trigger. Like if you're realtor, if you have a good realtor, they'll tell you what they really think. I mean, I would.
Yeah.
I'm honest. And pull the trigger. Like, it's scary. I remember being scared, but what's the worst that could happen with a house? Like, unless they trash it completely, but insurance would cover that. But I mean, you hold on to it for a couple of years. You have you have to fix a few things, and then you sell it for more than you bought it for. I mean, what's the end of the world?
Yeah.
Like, I honestly tell clients, like, if I believe in their deal, I told one this summer. He bought a place on Garfield, friend of mine, childhood friend. Had a bunch of money socked away, and like told him, like, I started talking about rentals. He came to like one of the rule things about where Aaron and Jeff taught and spoke or whatever. He bought one, and I'm like, yeah, it makes sense, dude. If you don't like it, I'll buy it from you next year. Just try it. Like, I'll buy it. And he's like, well, for how much? I'm like, well, we'll discuss that when it comes, but like, it's not going to happen. It's going to go, I remember thinking, like, how am I going to find a renter? It's simple. We got Facebook. I mean, it's free. And
Yeah.
your problem will not be finding a renter. Most likely it'll be choosing between multiple good renters, at least right now. I don't know what could happen in the future, but then you could sell it.
I was just thinking about this, like, yesterday driving to the office. I was thinking this exact thing. I wasn't going to buy it next year because I'm not sure if I'll be financially there. But I was thinking, like, if I was having this conversation with somebody, I would legitimately say to them, listen, if you're curious about real estate, you want to get into real estate, you're not sure, whatever, buy it. If it's not performing in 5 years, if it's not performing, or if you don't like it, or you want to get out of it, like, yeah, I'll buy it from you. Like, that's a genuine conversation. That's generally something I think, because I believe in it so much.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I'm passionate about it, and I'll help you, find the right property. Obviously, it takes some time to find the right property and make sure you're setting up your systems right and those type of things. But I believe in it so freaking much. And when I see people who have lived in their house for 10 years and they might not know about the equity they have,
yeah,
get that money working for you. I'm sure you.
Some people just want to pay off their house, and I can appreciate that too. And they don't want all the balls in the air. But if you're thinking about
if you're
it,
young,
what do they say? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Second best time is now.
Right now.
Like, yeah,
let's go.
It's changed our lives in so many ways. I think about it a lot, and I am not, if you know me, I am not this type of person. I'm more of like, my wife says I'm like a robot. I need food, if you've ever seen it. But I mean, like, I have very little emotion. But in the time that I said, hey, Kelly, you think I could be a realtor? And then decided to go with Rule, which was like one of the better decisions I've ever made in my life. And started buying properties, started selling, still have my business that I still possibly do better than I did back then by letting go of some of the power. That my life has changed. I mean, we still live in the same house and stuff, but we are looking at new houses. But my wife went part-time in that time, and now she's stay-at-home mom, have a baby, just always want to do it. And it's just, I don't know, just everything's better. Like, you got multiple streams of income. There were plenty of months with fallibles. I mean, people don't think this when you own a business. There were plenty of months where I didn't get paid at all. Like, it doesn't happen as much anymore. But if it does, you got rental income. You got 3 closings this month. You just got lots of balls in the air that are good balls. You know what I mean? Like,
balls in the air. Have you read the book Sell It Like Sirhan?
No, I never even heard of it.
Ryan Sirhan, he's like the face of like $1 million listing New York or whatever. He's one of the biggest realtors in the nation, I think.
Oh, really?
But he talks about, that's his whole thing, is balls in the air. He knows, he's like, I'm going to go after so many opportunities. I'm going to have so many balls in the air. I might drop one here or there, but I have so many others that it doesn't even matter. Like, I'm just going to keep going.
Right.
Next ball, whatever, So I like that you say that. That's freaking awesome.
That's true. Like, yeah, with rental properties, like when you have the first one and something goes wrong, it's a huge deal. But when you have, not that a lot of people have a lot more than me, but if you have 11 and something goes wrong, you got 10 other properties to cover that. So, it really is like a business, you know. So, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Freaking passionate about real estate and money. Let's go. All right, let's roll into the closing questions.
All right.
And I want to talk about this one a little bit deeper because I know what you're going to say here. What's your favorite book?
Yeah, well, I did write a bunch down, but...
Ooh, I'd like to hear about them.
Okay, well, I'll go... Y'all know what my number one is, but I started with Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think is the first book that I got on Audible. Then I went to like Total Money Makeover, which is great. I mean, Total Money Makeover just kind of confirmed what I already knew, that I was doing things right with money. Compound Effect by Darren Hardy is really good. And like I said, Simple Path to Wealth is awesome. Like that's my goal when I'm done selling. Like I want real estate to make me money, and then so I can put it into index funds, and then my goal is to be financially independent where I don't have to work. But I mean, I will work.
You just won't.
I just want to do what I want to do, you know?
Yeah.
Like if we want to leave for a bit, and my sons probably won't get to enjoy this, but my daughter, when she's in high school, maybe will leave for a month at a time in the summer. You know, my other kids will be in college or whatever, but that'd be cool. So Simple Path to Wealth. Set for Life by Scott Trench is amazing.
I got that right up
it's
there.
It's more for a starter.
Yeah.
I just re-listened to it the other day.
Great one.
Well, not day. It takes a while. But yeah, my number one book is Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. I know somebody else on the podcast has already mentioned this.
Yes.
That book was life-changing to me for my business of the pizza place Falbo's. Just the whole separating bank accounts and putting money where it needs to go every month was, I mean, I can't even tell you how much it's changed everything. Like it just works.
How do you do it?
So you have one account where his whole thing is smaller plates. Like, and it couldn't be any more true. Like, yeah, obviously I have bank accounts for my rentals and realtor business too, but it's not the same. Falbo's has so many moving parts. Credit cards coming in every day, your cash deposits every day. There's so many bills that come out when you're actually renting, and you got paychecks. You got employees that will stockpile paychecks that you forget about, and they could have paychecks from 3 months ago and cash all, 10 of them in one, or whatever that would be, 5, 6 of them in one day. But it's smaller plates. So you have one account where everything comes into, and then you separate it out. Like, I think he used the analogy of like, when you make a big meal, you don't all eat from the platter. You cut up the meat and serve it to each plate. So you have like a tax account. I have like a sales tax account where my sales tax goes into, because that comes out once a month, and that can be a big hit. I have a payroll and payroll tax account. I have a profit account where you're just taking like 1 or 2%, up to 3% of your sales go into that, so that you don't think about it. I mean, I think a lot of people do this with their personal money. I just never did it with business. Then there's like your owner's compensation account where you take a certain percentage, and he breaks down like lawyers and what they should be taking as percentages. It's a little different than the restaurant. So basically, whatever money I have coming in that day, I just have a notebook, piece of paper, and I do it every day. And I take off the sales tax, and then I account for food cost, take out my percentage of food cost, and then what's left, then I do those calculations for and move them. Once a week, I move them to the accounts. Food costs, that's another thing. Like, that's another thing about the book. It really, when you get your stuff back from your accountant, it could be a couple months later, and you don't know that your payroll's out of line, but you're doing this every day. And if you see something way off, you know it then. Food cost too. You know exactly. Like, I never used to know what my food cost is, but now I have an account that's getting a certain amount put in every month or every day. So I know where my food cost is. Like, I know what I put into it, I should say. And if that account runs short and can't pay my food bills, then I know my food cost is higher than that number, and I have to raise it 1% or whatever I think. Like, for me, cheese prices are where it's at. If cheese is up, I got to raise my food cost. If cheese is down, I can lower it a little, and then that percentage percent can go to profit or to owner's comp or to whatever. I mean, just like the end one is just to pay bills that you don't know about, I should say. Like advertising, you could do an advertising budget too. I don't.
Yeah.
I just kind of do whatever feels right when people come in and want to sell me stuff. But yeah, it's really changed a lot of, instead of having this one bank account that honestly could have a ton of money in it one day and you're like, this is awesome. I got to pay myself. Like I got to write myself a check, I
got to go on vacation.
Yeah. And then you write yourself a check and then a couple days later, you're paying it back because sales tax came out, payroll taxes came out. You forgot about payroll coming through. I don't know, maybe I'm dumb, but I mean, this is like,
no.
For me, It was huge. And I do it with my rentals too, where I put in, like I have a property tax account. So I do that way. And I put into an account, a profit account of what I should make every month. That hasn't worked out as well because a lot of things can go wrong. I think when you first buy, now as you hold, I think it'll even out. I had a lot of appliances break this year. I think it's because you can't get appliances this year. So
yeah, you got to go into the one. We were getting ready for a meeting at the office. You get a phone call.
Oh yeah, I did write that down. I have a couple.
Yes.
So yeah, I had a meeting. I was going over my 2021 goals with my boss. And I get a call from it was from the tenant, and they're like, our dryer's on fire. And I'm like, what? So I leave, go there, and these are really good tenants. They were newer, but they're good. They had they have 4-month-old baby in the house or something like that. And I get there, and by the time I'm there, the fire department has a dryer out in the backyard, just
dang,
all black.
Already.
I mean, it's just the Tide Pods were melted to the top of it. It was burnt clothes inside. We think it was just lint trap was too full, and I had Can-Do come and clean all that out. That one could have been bad. I mean, it's just pretty much stayed in the dryer. She had, like I said, she has a baby and a husband, and she goes to work at, I think, 3 a.m. And she was going to throw those clothes into the dryer at 2 and then go to work.
Wow.
And she didn't. She waited till she got home at 10 a.m. and did it.
The secret was working.
Yeah, that could have been disastrous.
Yeah.
And then a couple, that wasn't the one. The one I was talking to Jeff about my goals, I got a call that somebody drove into one of my apartments. So I go there. It was my anniversary, in October. Our anniversary, but I was talking to Jeff. See, I'm not emotional. We don't do anything for our anniversary.
Yeah.
And some drunk guy drove into one of my rentals, just drove into it. And I get there and the police are already there and the lady was kind of freaking out. And then we're sitting there for a little bit. They have one little piece off the car and they must have gotten a number off it. And I didn't know this at the time, but they knew it was a Toyota. And then all of a sudden, this car pulls up and slows down. I mean, you can see there were 3 cop cars there. And then he parks right next to where he hit. And they noticed it right away. Dubuque police were all over it. And I'm like, what are they doing?
Out.
What are they doing to this old guy? Why are they just pounced? Didn't attack him, but just came over and talked to him. Turns out 4:00 in the afternoon on a Wednesday, this old guy is just bombed out of his mind. And he's like, I just got here. What are you talking about? Well, that part was, you could seriously put it on his car. It was exact.
Oh, God.
He ran into the house and I don't know if he didn't remember. He was trying to get out of it. Turns out she knew him. She comes out screaming at him you screwed up now and all this. And she didn't know it was him though, because he was borrowing his brother's car. So it wasn't like she was trying to lie for him. She was mad at him. I had seen him there before when I was doing something
many bush lattes.
But that worked out well too. It was like a front porch that was built in, so there was not a second floor above it, not a foundation below it. So kind of dodged a bullet there too. Just fighting with insurance now to get the money to fix it.
Yeah.
It went into the inside, the drywall is broken on the inside of the house.
Jeez.
But it looks like nothing from the outside because siding flexes.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it didn't look like anything.
That's crazy.
But that should be getting fixed here in a week or 2.
There you go.
So yeah, but it's fun. It's no big deal. You just handle it.
It's like anything, problems, realtor problems. anything in my professional life, even teaching now and then realtor investment, like in hindsight, like all these problems were not as big as I thought they were in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, probably something that I should think of too, when I deal with some problems. But Jeff taught me that I'm going to start setting expectations better to avoid 90% of all problems.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
With who, though? Like, how are you going to...
With anyone.
With clients?
Life or clients or business, investments. 90% of all problems can be avoided by setting expectations.
You definitely learn, and
So that's good. So I mean, you probably didn't account for that in your profit first accounts.
No, but insurance. I mean, basically, I'm getting a bathroom redone because it's a bathroom kind of like that's built onto it at some point. It's an old house, but I'm getting it redone for insurance money.
There you go.
Hey, glass half full, right?
Glass is always half full. There we go. All right. What are your hobbies, Jeremy?
Hobbies. I don't have too many hobbies. I like watching TV. I still watch a decent amount of TV with my wife and kids. Been watching Full House with the kids every night. It's before your time. But yeah, other than that, I don't have too many
family
hobbies. I am a family man.
Good.
Shout out to Kelly. Let me become a realtor, changing our lives.
There we go. That's awesome. Okay, if you had to point to the one thing you either learned, developed, or were just born with that makes you successful, what would that be?
I don't know. I think I was born just to be kind of frugal, so that helps. I don't try to keep up with the Joneses. I don't really care what other people have. That helps in some ways. I got a pretty good work ethic, or I did. As I get older, I kind of want to slow down a little. But so born with that, I guess, or developed that. I mean, my dad worked a factory job his 45 years till he retired, 50 years, whatever it was. Didn't miss days, so maybe from him I got that work ethic, or maybe it was just. I mean, I tell kids now, like my kids. My parents didn't give us anything. We got Christmas presents and birthday presents, and if you wanted anything else, you had to work for it. So, I mean, I got paper out when I was 10, and I started working at campground when I was 12, and I remember made like $4.25 an hour. I don't know, just work ethic. So nice. I don't remember the question exactly, but yeah.
No, yeah, that's
just
really
work
good.
Hard.
Yeah, I like it. That's a good one.
Things work out when you work hard.
Yeah.
Like, what do those say? It goes around Facebook, like, doesn't cost anything to show up or be on time or work hard, that kind of stuff.
Those 10 things that anyone could do.
Yeah, anyone can do.
Yeah, those are good. I also like the one, and I'm going to butcher this one. I don't even know who said it, but it was like, I found that I'm a very lucky man or something like this. And, the harder I work, the more luck I find.
Yeah,
or something like
the
that.
more when you prepare. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Scott Trench says that a lot on who wrote Set for Life.
He's a beast.
I mean, him, like, he's a young dude. Like, I think he's under 30.
Yeah.
But he's already financially independent. And
Scott, if you're listening, come on the show. I know
someday
you're listening.
You'll listen.
I know you're listening, Scott. We need you on the show. Come on, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, I wish I would have gotten into it a lot younger. But
good.
Well, do it now.
Yep. What about the tree? 20 years ago or today?
Yeah, right?
All right, who's someone you're wanting to meet?
Yeah, I saw this on your little question thing. I mean, for me, this is kind of a no-brainer, nothing to do with business. Michael Jordan. I would meet Michael Jordan. I love my oldest son is named Jordan after that Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I would meet him. So it's a no-brainer.
Can't argue with that.
Tattoo on my arm of Michael Jordan.
Yes.
From a long time ago.
Let's go.
But, yeah, it'd be cool to meet Michael Jordan. Don't you think? Do you even know who he is?
Can't argue with that. Oh, yeah, he's a legend.
Did you watch The Last Dance? That was amazing.
That was very good. I really like that.
So cool. Like, it's 20-year-old footage.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet that was, like, nostalgic for people who... Because that probably was, like... I don't know, you were probably a big sports guy right when he was
high school.
and rolling.
Well, the first championship, I was, like, junior high. But, like, maybe even 6th grade. But yeah, it was NBA was huge in the 90s. NBA is not so big now. But
See, that was me for LeBron. Like I feel like a deeper connection with him because I grew up with him.
Yeah.
So
he's been around a long time. It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
He really hasn't slowed down much either, has he?
I know.
He's
freaking
still,
freak.
Yeah.
Modern medicine. He spends $1 million a year, over $1 million on his body.
Really?
Like upkeep and diet, and he's got like masseuse and all that stuff.
I believe it. Yeah, like Tom Brady.
Tom Brady too.
Yeah.
Freaking timeless. It's crazy.
It's nuts, yeah. Tom Brady's like a year older than me. I can barely tie my shoes.
Working on that flexibility.
Yeah, right.
R.I.P. Kobe, by the way.
Yeah,
We're talking about
Kobe,
some of these old...
Big day, too. I like Kobe.
Yeah. What are you currently focusing on or trying to learn, and how can the listeners help you? Imagine one of these listeners has just got the ticket for you. He's just got exactly what you're looking for.
I don't know. But currently I was looking into a self-directed 401k. I guess that's all I can think about right now that I've been looking into. I don't know if a listener could help me, but there's a company that it's basically like setting a 401k up for yourself when you're self-employed. And it's just a way to save more for retirement. I don't know exactly what it is yet, but I was just looking into that.
I've heard about self-directed IRAs. Is it similar?
Supposedly the 401k is better because it has higher limits.
Oh, okay.
Although, I mean, if you listen to this stuff, I don't know how much I want to save for retirement that I can't touch because I would like to retire within 5 years. So
yeah,
retire meaning just do what I want, kind of.
I can't wait till I invest in so much where I'll still work, but I feel like I probably don't need to. I don't know. I feel like that'll be a special moment in my life, but maybe not. Who knows?
It could happen. You might not even know what happens if you don't know. What do they say? If you don't know how much you spend a month or a year, you don't know when you could stop working. Like if nothing went wrong with my apartments right now, I probably could stop working, but it seems to be like things go wrong a decent amount. So maybe my numbers are a little off of what I need to put aside for repairs and stuff like that versus what you can actually use to live. You know?
Yeah. And still young, like you're a freaking young guy to be talking about retiring in 5 years. But like same for me, like I like the work that I'm doing. I'm passionate as heck about it. It's not like I'm like, I don't want to work. Like I feel like a lot of millennials get a bad rap for that.
No, you're a super hard worker.
I don't know.
When I say, maybe I don't want to put this out in podcast world, but I would like to sell my pizza place within 5 years is my goal.
There we go.
So if anybody wants to buy it, a couple years, or I'd sell now for the right price. But
would you help somebody get started?
Yes, I would. I would actually rather have somebody I know that has worked for me, and I would do like a land contract on it where they pay me monthly, and I mean they'd have to give me something down because that would just be. They could really run that into the ground pretty quickly if they, So I don't know if I would do that for sure, but yeah, I would definitely hang around and help somebody get started. I mean, I'd show them the way I do it. I tell people all the time, you could run into the ground, you could make way more than me. I mean, you could change one little thing and do better than me or way worse. I don't know, but I'd show you the way I did stuff and do stuff and go from there. I mean,
dang, that is quite the opportunity for any listener who's looking. If you're working 9 to 5, you're like sitting at your desk right now. You're doing some mindless task, just waiting for 5 o'clock to hit. It's 3:46 right now. If you're waiting for 5 o'clock to come around, listen up. You got an opportunity in Dubuque to buy an already successful business.
15 years.
15 years. The owner is willing to help you get it off the ground. Let's go.
Yeah, it's off the ground. I mean, you could immediately walk in, but
he would get you off the ground. Whatever.
Yeah. I envision it, being either an ex-employee or a current employee or like a kid whose parents have a little bit of money and they want to, it's someday, it could be now I doubt if this is going to, but within 5 years, I'd like to do that. That'd be cool. I mean, think about that. Yeah. Like I built that from there. I remember putting up the wall, not watching the guys put up the walls and building out that whole space, and people telling me it wasn't going to work. And then I could focus 100% on real estate and do well in that too.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. All right, we'll see what we can do here at Real Estate in the Tri-State for you. All right, this one's a classic. What do you believe separates successful real estate investors from those who give up, fail, or never get started?
Well, the never get started, I would say, like I said earlier, people just use excuses. Like an excuse for everything. Like, just figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that hard. Mm-hmm. I think people are scared too. Solve your problems. Don't get inside your head too much and just get started. Like, again, what's the worst that could happen with real estate investing? You're not putting all your money into Bitcoin. You're putting it into something that's probably going to make more money. It's probably going to be worth more than it was when you bought it if you hold on to it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
That's one thing I love about real estate, that I'm fairly confident that every rental property I bought will be worth more when I sell it in however many years than like it was when I bought it. But like Felbles, if I were to sell, when I do sell someday, I don't know if I can sell that for more than what I put into it. Put a lot into it. It costs a lot to build that,
Yeah. But real estate, you just know.
Yeah, you just know. It's just more accepted, I guess.
Especially in our area, it's like it's more. It's not going to see the huge swings
right,
up and
or
down
on the coast. Yeah.
Freaking buy real estate, folks. I think, yeah.
I can help you with that.
Jeremy can help you with that. There's another
Rob can help you with that too.
Oh, yeah. We are here to help. Okay, last question. Here we go.
Ready.
Pancakes, waffles, French toast.
Yeah, I've heard this on other. There's just so many options. If I were at a restaurant like Perkins, I would probably say pancakes. But first. But pancakes at home just don't seem to work, and I do think. So yeah, at home I would say French toast, waffles, pancakes. But at a restaurant, I'd probably say pancakes, French toast, waffles.
Wow,
I like
awesome.
eggs.
Eggs are good.
I like eggs more, so I don't really.
Maybe that'll be my next bonus fun question where I'll go into like, how do you like your eggs?
Right.
And why? I'm a huge egg guy.
How do you like your dessert for breakfast?
Yeah.
Pancakes, waffles.
Yeah.
It's good. Syrup. I mean, they all got syrup, and syrup's good. So
yeah. Well, last one. Here we go. If people are interested in furthering the conversation or learning more about maybe what's something you said, how can they reach out to you? How can they find you?
Just my cell phone number, 563-543-7292. You could, if you don't get that, you could also call Rule and
they'll find
reach out. Yeah, or Jeremy Noel Real Estate Facebook page or Falble Brothers Pizza Facebook page is another good way because, I control those Facebook pages, so I would get a message.
Very good. Many ways to reach out. Folks, reach out to Jeremy if you have any questions. Jeremy, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for being on, man.
Thank you. I was on a podcast. How cool.
How cool.
Hey. I can't wait for the day somebody walks up to me and said, I heard you on a podcast.
Yeah.
I really hope that happens.
Dude, you should be on more. You're a good podcast guest.
Oh, thanks.
You got a wealth of knowledge. You're a good one.
Thanks.
Thanks for being on. Really appreciate it. Had fun here in the studio today. Listeners, really appreciate you tuning in to Real Estate in the Tri-State. If you like the content, please smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Like Graham Stephan, or subscribe, like, share the content. I feel like Jeremy had a ton of good value here to share today, and the more people who listen to that, the more likely it can get to other people's ears. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Real Estate in the Tri-State. We want to encourage all of our listeners to send in any and all real estate questions to us at rottlerpodcast@gmail.com. More details in our show notes.
And as always, let's have a great day, folks.